This video is aimed at both new cosplayers and old. Cosplay is a hobby filled with creativity and passion, blood, sweat, and many tears. But we all do it because we love it. There are so many different elements that go into creating a cosplay, from crafting to sewing to makeup to wig styling, and then there's all the things you can do in cosplay, to photography, social media, and going to conventions. All of these things are so much fun and can bring so much joy, but some elements in particular of cosplay do come with some risks. And there's ways to ensure that these things stay fun because you're safe and don't come out as having a bad experience with it. I either see experienced cosplayers just ignoring potential health risks and safety risks because it hasn't happened yet, or I see new cosplayers making mistakes and potentially injuring or harming themselves because they genuinely don't know. This all sounds very scary, but the things that you can do to ensure that the bad side of these things don't happen are pretty simple. And so I just want to go through today some easy ways to stay safe while cosplaying. I want to start with the thing that most urged me to create this video, because this is one in particular I see people not knowing how this works. When dealing with this element of cosplay, you are risking health risks with it and things that could impact your life long term. And that's why I think this one is most important to cover first. That is contact lens safety. Some of you are just popping in those things without a second thought. There's a lot of cosplays where there's a lot of pressure to wear contact lenses, and there's a lot of characters where the eye color and design is a really pivotal part of the character, and they don't really look the same without it. But that in no means way that you have to wear contact lenses with your cosplay. If you are not comfortable with contact lenses, if they're an extra expense you can't afford, if you have eye issues or eye sensitivity and it's something that's just painful for you or not responsible for you to be doing with your eyes, there's no pressure to do it. And if anyone pressures you to do it, you send them to me. Because there's so many other things you can do to become that character. When I first started cosplaying, I definitely felt compelled to get contact lenses for my characters. And did they make the cosplays look a little cooler? Yeah, they did. But in the end, it just wasn't worth it for me. From the pain of putting in a contact lens inside out to trying to stop my eyes from drying out to the anxiety of it all, it's just not worth it for me. My eyes are quite sensitive to it. I raised to you the example of this TikTok I filmed where I'm in my white violin cosplay. And at first glance, you might think, wow, they were really in character in that moment. They look like they're about to cry. I was, not because of the acting, but because those contacts burned my eyes like you would not believe. I was in pain the whole time I was cosplaying that character. I will admit, while I generally don't wear contact lenses, there are some bigger projects that I would be willing to wear them for. But when I do that, I'm going to be doing it safely. And here is how to do that. First things first is where you buy your contact lenses from. There are many colored contact lens sellers, and not all of them are safe. You have to remember that you are essentially putting plastic into your eye. Anything that goes into your eye can damage it. It's very important that the sellers that you buy for are responsible and you know are safe. The two ones that I can recommend is Unixo and Honeycolor. Unixo is the one that I have purchased from, and I had good experience with buying from them. And even though my eyes are generally sensitive to contact lenses, these ones were safe. I've also heard many reviews of Honeycolor from cosplayers who have verified that they're good contact lenses. So those are the two that I would personally recommend. One thing you do really need to note when buying contact lenses is the expiry on them. The standard, I would say, for most contact lenses is an expiry of 1 year. For some contact lenses, they are 1 month. For some contact lenses, they are a one-time use. Talking value for money, you're better off getting contact lenses that have a 1 year expiry. But in saying that, you have to then preserve these and keep these safe to wear for 1 year. The number one tip that I can give is when you get your contact lenses, write down on the box, on the lens case, wherever you can, the date that you bought them, so you are not going over that expiry date, and throw them away after that expiry date. The next thing to note is, which is something that it came to my attention recently that some cosplayers don't know, and that is colored contacts do not come ready to wear. Contacts come submerged in a little liquid container. You cannot open that and immediately put it in your eyes. Colored contacts need to soak in contact solution, preferably at least overnight before you wear them. Most contacts will come with a contact lens case. Open them up, move them into there, and fill them with fresh contact solution. I would give advice on putting colored contacts in, except I was terrible at it. I cannot tell the difference between a contact lens that is inside out and when it isn't. They both look the same to me. Storing contact lenses is another really important part, because what can happen to contact lenses when they are soaking in that moist environment in the dark for a long time, they can get mold on them, and that's what you really got to watch out for. To keep contact lenses fresh and healthy and safe to put in your eyes, it's best to change the contact solution once a month at least. And always, always check your contact lenses before you put them in. Check them for scratches, hairs, and for mold. Always put in your contact lenses before you do your makeup. And lastly, don't wear them for more than the recommended time. If you're cosplaying for a short period of time, say you get into cosplay just to film some TikToks for a few hours or so, then you don't have to worry too much about this. For something like a convention, you do have to be mindful of this. The absolute maximum you can wear them for is 8 hours. I think this is fairly common knowledge, but never sleep with contact lenses in. Colored contacts, prescription contacts, don't sleep with them in. And there you go, that is how to safely wear contact lenses. For some things I'm going to talk about in this video, I don't want to sound scary, but when I'm talking about contact lenses, I do want to sound a little bit scary because you do have to be careful with them. You only get one set of eyes in your life. Next, let's talk about crafting. Crafting is a general term in cosplay that basically involves making the costume. Obviously, I can't cover every single form of crafting and safety tip that I can give for it in this video, but I want to talk about a few general ones, and especially something that I only discovered recently, and I wish I had known earlier. One of the most commonly used glues in cosplay that's used across a range of crafts is contact cement. I've used contact lens before in the past, especially when using EVA foam, things like that. And there's a cosplay I'm working on at the moment which involves me having to use a lot of contact cement. And thank God I found this out before I started working on this cosplay, because contact cement isn't something you're supposed to breathe in. If you're going to be using contact cement across a long period of time while you're working on a project, you have to be working in a ventilated area at the very least. If you're going to be working with it for a long time and up close, just to be safe, it's good to just wear a face mask. And this applies for a lot of other tools used in cosplay. Even I would say working with something like hairspray, it's good if you're going to be spraying a huge amount on a wig or something to do it outside or well-ventilated area. I'd say the most common glue used amongst crafters and cosplayers would be hot glue. It is in the title, hot glue is hot, okay? And this is one of the ones I'm going to be a little hypocritical about. You can get heat-proof gloves that you can use while you're working with something like a hot glue gun or anything that involves any kind of heat. When using a hot glue gun, always have a tool there that you can use to handle the glue that isn't going to be your fingers. The thing I personally use is what's called a boning tool, I'm pretty sure. It's usually used for paper craft, for smoothing across like paper to make crisp folds. But you can use it to just smear things out, really. It's basically just a plastic stick. There's also things like blades and cutting knives to be aware of with cosplaying, especially with EVA foam or cutting out cardboard or anything like that. Always keep blades moving away from yourself and away from your fingers. Also, while crafting, you gotta make sure that you're standing up, you're taking breaks, you're not hunched over like a little goblin, which is precisely what I do. One of the other aspects of cosplay that can cause health risks is chest binding. I am not an expert on this in the way that many other people are. I've never binded before for a cosplay, although it'll probably eventually happen. I'm gonna leave some links below to some people who can teach you safe binding. An overall tip that applies to chest binding and contact lens wearing is you have to be mindful of it when going to conventions. Check ahead of time how long you are going to be at this convention for and plan out if you are going to say wear a chest binder or contact lens and that convention is going to go longer than the safe amount of time to wear these products. Either plan a way that you're going to be able to take them off or maybe that character isn't one that's going to be safe for that convention. And now we move on to convention safety, which there is a lot to cover with staying safe at conventions. I've had very positive experiences at cons. I don't have any con horror stories that some people do have, but I do feel like Australian conventions are a bit more chill than the ones I've seen in some other countries. This first one especially applies to minors. If you are a young cosplayer, don't go to conventions alone. If you're under the age of 18, make sure you're at least going with a group of friends who are going to be able to look out for you, or go with your parent or another family member. Conventions are fun and exciting and I love going to them. They're like the highlight of my year, but they're overwhelming. It's crowded, there's people in bright colors everywhere, there's a talk going on over there, there's music from here. It's a lot. If you're attending a con, think about whether or not it's safe to go by yourself. Also think about if you're taking, say, public transport and how you're going to get there, what way is going to be safest. If you're ever in a situation where you're by yourself at a con and you feel unsafe or something's wrong and you need help, you can always go to people. Most cosplayers I know are always willing to stand up for someone when they're in trouble. All good cosplayers understand like the codes and the safety of cons and how to keep them a safe environment. And so when other people go to conventions and try and ruin that, you will get ganged up on by a group of cosplayers. You will get beaten up by Sailor Moon. You can always go to the volunteers and the crew runners who are trained on what to do and know where security is, know what the protocols are. Another thing I've heard a lot of cosplayers try and make other people aware on is photographers. There are a lot of photographers at conventions who want the opportunity to get some photo shoots with cosplayers that they see there that they like, and majority of them are genuine. Photographers usually will do photo shoots with you in a public space, just an area outside of the convention where other people are around. But if you ever are going off with a photographer, you still are essentially going off with a stranger, and you need to make sure that you have someone else there as the bare minimum. Try and keep it in a public space where other people can see you, and have your friend there or your family member there, because while most people there are genuine photographers who love the art of it, there can be predatory people posing. Alright, and here is the rundown of things I think you need to have with you at a convention as the bare minimum. You need to have a bottle of water. You will get dehydrated. Even having like a Powerade or a Gatorade in your bag is a really good idea as well. Have some food with you, even if you plan on buying lunch there. At the very least, you're gonna need some snacks there, especially things that you can eat on the go, like a muesli bar, something that's very easy to eat, or something that you may be able to eat while you're sitting and watching a talk or something like that. Have emergency repairs for different parts of your cosplay. Say, if you're wearing a long-haired wig, you might want a brush or some bobby pins. I've also seen a lot of people recommending these foldable stools that you can get. They're just circular and you can unfold them to make a portable seat that you can sit on, say for if you're in a long line or if there isn't available seating, which there never really is at cons, you just have to sit on the ground, then these are actually a really good option that I've seen people recommending lately. Basically for conventions, just think ahead a little bit about what you might need. Make sure you have all the basic necessities there, and make sure you're having a fun time. I'm very much looking forward to all the conventions coming up in just a few months, really, for where I am. And yeah, it's gonna be a good time. So I hope you guys could maybe learn something or refresh your knowledge in this video. And thank you for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please give it a like to let me know that you enjoyed it. If people are interested in more of this advice, tutorial sort of cosplay, you know, out of cosplay content, then let me know in the comments below. And make sure you subscribe for all my weekly videos. So thank you very much for watching. Bye!